They will try to poke you, push you, pressure you, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your peace bothers them. Your calm presence exposes their chaos. Your refusal to react makes them feel powerless. That's how the world works. Boa, G. People don't want control, they want your reaction. The moment you react emotionally, you've handed them power. They'll say something slick, passive-aggressive, or even disrespectful, just to see if you'll break character. Because when you break character, they win. When you lash out, defend yourself, or chase validation, you're playing their game. But when you stay still, stay grounded, stay unbothered, you become untouchable. This isn't about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally disciplined. That's where true strength lives, in silence, in stillness, in knowing that not everything requires your energy. Not every comment deserves a comeback. Not every insult deserves your explanation. Denzel Washington once said, "Don't pick up every invitation to argue." And that one piece of wisdom can save you from 1,000 traps. Because they want to pull you down to their level. They want you to explain, to defend, to perform. But the moment you do, they've set the tempo, not you. The real warriors in this life aren't the loudest ones in the room. They're the ones who can sit in the fire and still smile, who can walk away with their peace intact while everyone else is scrambling for control. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone, not through arguments, not through outbursts, not through desperate explanations. Your energy is currency, and every time you give it away to nonsense, you're bankrupting your peace. Let them talk, let them misunderstand you, let them call you arrogant, distant, too cold. That's none of your business. Your business is your growth, your focus, your purpose. When you stay unbothered, you stay in alignment, you stay in control, and you stop living reactively. That's where real freedom begins. It's not in controlling others, it's in controlling yourself. You can't stop people from hating, gossiping, testing you, but you can master your response. And once you do that, you become dangerous in the best way. Because now, they can't manipulate you. They can't throw you off track. They can't use your emotions as their remote control. Think about how much time you've wasted explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you, how many days you've lost being mad at someone who wasn't even thinking about you, how many opportunities you missed because your mind was distracted by drama. That's the trap. And you escape it the moment you choose stillness over noise. This doesn't mean you let people disrespect you. It means you stop giving disrespect power. You respond from strength, not emotion, from principle, not pride. And there's a big difference. Staying unbothered doesn't mean you're passive, it means you're powerful enough to choose your battles. Most people are addicted to reacting. A comment online ruins their whole day. A rude tone shifts their entire energy. But the masters, the Denzels of this world, they know how to pause. That's the key, the pause. That sacred moment between stimulus and response where your power lives. In that pause you can choose maturity over emotion. You can choose wisdom over impulse. You can choose growth over ego. That pause is everything. Practice it, protect it, live in it. Because when you control your response, you control your reality. Let them throw shade, your light will make it irrelevant. Let them gossip, your results will speak louder. Let them try to trigger you, your peace will frustrate their plans. You weren't born to be a puppet, you were born to lead. And you can't lead if you're always reacting. Leaders don't move with emotion, they move with intention. And when your intention is growth, you stop giving your attention to drama. You realize that half the battles people invite you into are traps designed to waste your time, drain your energy, and distract your spirit. Stay out of them. Protect your peace like it's your greatest asset, because it is. The person who stays calm under pressure wins, every time. Because while others are losing their minds, reacting to every trigger, burning bridges, and exposing weakness, you're focused, composed, and building silently. That's what staying unbothered gives you clarity. And in a world addicted to chaos, clarity is a superpower. You want to rise? Then stop engaging with anything that pulls you down. You want to succeed? Then learn to ignore what doesn't serve your mission. You want peace? Then guard your energy like a fortress. You owe it to yourself. Because at the end of the day, they can't control you, unless you hand them the remote. And every time you overreact, you're handing it over. Take it back. Breathe, observe, move with purpose. Let your silence disturb the noise. Let your stillness shake the room. Let your peace be louder than their chaos. That's how you win in this world. That's how you stay untouchable. That's how you become unstoppable. Stay unbothered. Boa G. Because nothing is more powerful than the person who is no longer moved by nonsense. The world isn't just watching you, it's testing you, poking you, baiting you, hoping you'll break. Every system you live in, every person you meet, every screen you scroll, it's all part of a massive psychological battlefield where the real war isn't over your time or your money, it's over your focus. They want your reaction because your reaction is your surrender. From the moment you step out of bed, the world starts pressing buttons, negative headlines, fake smiles, backhanded compliments, distractions disguised as opportunities. And if you're not grounded, if your center isn't strong, you'll spend your whole day chasing fires that don't belong to you. That's what they want. They want to keep you triggered so you never create. They want to keep you emotional so you never become strategic. They want you tired from responding so you don't have the strength to rise. That's why the strongest people in this world aren't the loudest. They're the most anchored. People try to shake them, shame them, provoke them, but they move like mountains, not waves. You think your coworker's sarcasm is random. It's a test. You think that one comment from a fake friend wasn't calculated. It was bait. You think the algorithm's endless negativity is unintentional. It's all designed to get inside your head, to make you doubt, to make you angry, to make you react without thinking. Because the more you react, the easier you are to control, the easier you are to manipulate, distract, sell to, silence. That's the game. And most people are playing it without realizing they're being played. But the moment you wake up, the moment you realize that every reaction is energy, every outburst is access, every argument is a leak, that's the moment you become dangerous. You start guarding your peace like it's gold. You stop responding to fools. You stop trying to explain yourself to people who don't want to understand. And suddenly, they don't know what to do with you. Because you've taken away their power, their favorite toy, your emotions. You've reclaimed your control. You've broken the cycle. That's why staying unbothered isn't just some spiritual flex. It's warfare. It's you stepping off the battlefield and saying, I don't bleed for nonsense anymore. Denzel Washington once said, some people will never like you because your spirit irritates their demons. And that's real, Bawaji. Sometimes you're being attacked not because you're weak, but because your strength is threatening. Your focus is intimidating. Your self-control is insulting to those who've never known it. That's why they provoke you. Because your silence reminds them of their chaos. Your growth reminds them of their stagnation. Your self-possession reminds them they gave their power away long ago. So they'll poke, gaslight, push your buttons, try to get a rise out of you. But that's your test. Can you stay centered when everything's trying to throw you off? Can you smile in the storm? Can you stay in your frame, no matter what tries to shake it? That's mastery. That's what makes you different. The world doesn't reward the triggered, it rewards the grounded. You want peace, build emotional muscle. You want power, learn not to flinch. You want freedom, learn not to engage. Because the more you rise, the more they'll test you. The more still you become, the louder the chaos around you will grow. That's not a sign to react. That's confirmation you're on the right path. Let the world scream, you move in silence. Let the triggers fly, you walk with calm. Because your value isn't in how you react, it's in what you choose to respond to. And when your choices are guided by principle, not impulse, you become unshakable. Let them underestimate you. Let them misread your silence. Let them throw stones at a wall that doesn't crack. You weren't born to be tossed by the wind, you were built to stand tall in the hurricane. So the next time the world tries to trigger you, pause, smile, and remember, your peace is not for sale. Your attention is not up for grabs, and your emotions are not their playground. Because when they can't trigger you, they can't touch you. And when they can't touch you, they can't control you. And that Bawaji is when you finally step into your power. There's a reason Denzel Washington doesn't shout to be heard. He lets his presence do the talking. In a world addicted to noise, his silence cuts deeper than any scream. His calm isn't weakness, it's control. His stillness isn't passivity, it's precision. The man moves like a sharpened blade, slow, deliberate, and devastatingly focused. Because Denzel knows what most people don't. Silence is strength. It's not the silence of fear, it's the silence of mastery. When you know who you are, when you're grounded in your purpose, when you've trained your mind to rise above the noise, you don't need to explain, defend, or react. You observe, you calculate, you speak only when necessary. And when you do speak, the room listens. That's discipline, Bawaji. That's a level of control most never reach because they're too busy performing. But Denzel doesn't perform for claps, he performs for legacy. He's not chasing validation, he's living truth. And the truth is, the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. They bark because they're scared. They over-explain because they're insecure. They react because they're unstable. But the disciplined man, the one who's built himself in silence, who's gone to war with his ego, who doesn't need the world's approval, that man is untouchable. Denzel once said, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. That's not just about work, that's about energy. Most people waste their lives responding to every jab, every rumor, every comment, but discipline teaches you to move only when it matters. It teaches you to conserve your energy, to sharpen your focus, to stay quiet until the time is right, and then strike with precision. That's how lions move. That's how legends are made. Not by fighting every battle, but by choosing the right ones. Silence isn't weakness. It's a strategy. It's how you hold power without flaunting it. It's how you command respect without demanding it. It's how you control a room without saying a word. And that's what Denzel embodies: control. Not control over others, but control over self, over ego, over emotion, over reaction. That's the real game. You want to be free. You want to walk through this world unbothered, untouchable, unshakable. Then master the discipline of silence. Learn to be still when the world is loud. Learn to keep your mouth closed when your ego wants to speak. Learn to listen more than you talk, because the one who listens rules. Denzel doesn't just act, he studies, he watches, he absorbs. And that's why when he delivers a line, it hits like thunder, because it's not just acting, it's truth. And truth spoken from silence carries a weight the world can't ignore. You don't need to fight every insult. You don't need to correct every lie. You don't need to clap back every time you're doubted. Your results will speak. Your presence will speak. Your silence will speak. That's the discipline Denzel lives by, and that's the discipline you need if you want to walk through this world with peace in your soul and power in your bones. Let them talk. Let them lie. Let them hate. You stay quiet. You stay working. You stay building in silence. And when the time is right, you show up not to explain, not to argue, but to demonstrate. To let your life scream so loud that your words are no longer necessary. That's what real strength looks like. Not emotional chaos. Not constant reaction, but unshakable stillness. You become a storm inside, but your face is calm. You rage with focus, not fury. That's the kind of man the world can't figure out and can't control. Because silence isn't hiding. Silence is sharpening. It's preparing. It's watching. And when you've mastered it, you become the most dangerous version of yourself. The world can't trigger you. The noise doesn't reach you. The hate doesn't move you. Because you're not living for attention, you're living with intention. That's the Denzel mindset. That's the warrior spirit. That's the discipline that builds empires in secret and leaves the crowd stunned in silence. So stop wasting your power on every petty moment. Stop breaking your peace just to prove a point. Stop letting your emotions drive your actions. You're not a puppet, you're a king. Act like it, move like it, speak like it, or better yet, don't speak at all. Let the silence speak for you. Because when you master the pause, when you sharpen your presence, when your silence becomes louder than their noise, you win. Every single time. In this world, peace is not given, it's taken, it's earned, it's protected with blood and boundaries. Because if you don't own your peace, someone else will. And when they own your peace, they own your mind, your mood, your decisions, your destiny. That's how most people live emotionally, rented out to everyone and everything. One toxic comment ruins their entire morning. One negative headline hijacks their whole mindset. One bad day turns into a bad week, a bad season, a bad life. Why? Because they never took ownership of their own inner world. They let everything outside decide everything inside. But real peace, Bawaji, that's not about scented candles or weekend escapes. Real peace is savage. It's warborn. It's built in the trenches of your past, where you chose not to break. It's built in the silence of self-respect. When you stop letting people shake you. It's when you say, no one gets to disturb the empire I've built inside me. Because that's what peace is, your inner kingdom. And if you don't rule it, someone else will. They'll pull you into drama, they'll bait you into conflict. They'll gaslight you into reacting. Because your reaction is their entry point. Your attention is their access. But when you start guarding your energy like a king guards his throne, everything changes. You stop responding to nonsense. You stop defending yourself to small minds. You stop letting weak energy contaminate your greatness. Because now you understand, peace is power. Not passive peace, but intentional, strategic, unshakable peace. The kind of peace that says, you can talk about me, but you can't reach me. The kind of peace that lets them gossip while you grind. The kind of peace that says, I'm building something too big to be distracted by something too small. That's what Denzel lives by. That's why he moves different. That's why his presence shakes rooms. Not because he's loud, but because he's owned himself. He doesn't flinch when doubted. He doesn't respond to every critic. He doesn't chase applause. He walks in silence, because he's ruled his spirit. And if you want to win in this life, not just survive but dominate, you've got to own your peace the same way. That means setting boundaries so hard they offend people who benefited from your lack of them. That means walking away without announcing it. That means choosing solitude over fake connection, clarity over chaos, peace over performance. Because every time you allow someone to disturb your peace, you're telling them they have more authority over your mind than you do, and that's unacceptable. Your peace is your responsibility, and you must protect it from the subtle killers. The comparison, the noise, the validation, addiction, the guilt, the need to explain yourself to people who aren't even qualified to judge you. Silence all that, detach from it. Choose peace, even if it means choosing to be misunderstood. Because the ones who understand your value won't need the noise anyway. They'll feel your energy. They'll respect your quiet strength. They'll know you're building something deeper than approval. And the moment you own your peace fully, not halfway, not conditionally, but completely, the game shifts. You're no longer reacting, you're responding. You're no longer absorbing chaos. You're radiating clarity. You're no longer fragile, you're forged. The winds don't move you. The storms don't shake you, because you've built a fortress inside, and only you have the key. You speak when it's time, you rest without guilt, you disconnect when needed, you stay rooted while the world spins. That's not weakness, that's strength, that's mastery, that's ownership. So if you want to become unstoppable, don't just chase peace, claim it. Don't just protect your time, protect your mind. Don't just work on your goals, work on your grounding. Because without peace, power is useless. Without peace, you're easily manipulated. Without peace, your whole mission is at risk. But with it, you're untouchable. They can lie, distract, provoke, but you stay solid. That's when they can't control you. That's when your silence becomes the loudest roar. That's when your energy speaks louder than any response ever could. So, own it, Boaji. Own your morning. Own your mindset. Own your reactions. Own your reactions. Your mission, because if you don't, trust me, the world will. And it'll sell your peace back to you at a price you can't afford. There's a moment in every great man's life when he realizes he was never meant to be part of the crowd. He was born to lead it. But leadership doesn't start with commanding others. It starts with commanding yourself. And that begins the moment you stop reacting to everything around you like a puppet being pulled by strings. Because as long as you're reacting, you're not thinking. As long as you're triggered, you're not choosing. And as long as you're chasing approval, you're not walking in purpose. The world is full of noise, critics, distractions, clout chasers, manipulators, all designed to keep you emotionally intoxicated so you never see straight. But when you choose to stop reacting, when you take the power back and learn to sit in discomfort without flinching, that's when your leadership begins. That's when you stop living life like a passenger and grab the damn wheel. You don't rise by chance, you rise by choice. And the first choice you must make is to be still in the storm, to be unmoved by pettiness, to be unreachable by drama. Because leadership isn't loud, it's composed, it's strategic, it's quiet power. And the ones who lead from the inside out, not from ego but from clarity, they shape the future. That's what Denzel Washington represents, a man who leads not by shouting, not by chasing cameras, but by owning every breath, every word, every move. He doesn't react to every slight or snap back at every critic. He leads by example. And that's the kind of man this world needs, not the loudest, but the most grounded. That's what you must become, because, make no mistake, the world is starving for real leadership. People who walk with truth, not trends. People who speak with wisdom, not just volume. People who choose their reactions like a general chooses his battles, carefully, intentionally, with purpose. When you stop reacting, you stop leaking power. You stop living emotionally bankrupt. You stop chasing and start attracting. Because leadership isn't about control, it's about clarity. And clarity only comes when your mind isn't clouded with reactivity. You've got to rise above the noise, Baweji. You've got to become so rooted in your principles that you can walk through fire and not blink. Because that's what people follow, not hype, not chaos, but calm confidence. The type of presence that says, I don't need to react, I already know who I am. That kind of energy is rare, and rare always leads. But you don't get there by accident. You get there by mastering your emotions. By choosing pause over panic. By choosing principle over pride. By learning that your silence is often louder than your rage, and your focus is more feared than your fists. The man who doesn't react is the man who owns the room. The man who can sit with insult and still smile, that's power, because it means no one outside of you owns what's inside of you. That's the shift. That's when people stop seeing you as just another voice and start seeing you as the voice. Not because you talk the most, but because when you speak, it's real, it's earned, it's rooted in something deeper than attention, it's rooted in purpose. And once you start leading from that space of unbothered clarity, your life starts moving different. Opportunities find you. The right people align with you. The wrong people fall off naturally, and you don't even have to lift a finger to push them away. Your peace does the filtering for you. Because energy doesn't lie, and leadership doesn't beg. It doesn't chase noise, it creates direction. So ask yourself, are you living to impress, or are you living to influence? Are you reacting to every storm, or are you becoming the storms.com? Because when you shift from reaction to response, from ego to awareness, from noise to vision, that's when you stop following the world and start shaping it. That's when people begin to look at you differently. That's when your name carries weight, not because you forced it to, but because your consistency earned it. That's leadership. That's legacy. And you build that not through chaos, but through command of your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, your energy. You build it through the courage to be misunderstood, the strength to remain silent, the discipline to walk away without needing applause. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. That's what separates the boys from the kings. That's what Denzel's life reflects, and that's what yours can too. But you must decide. Decide that you will no longer be a slave to reaction. Decide that you will no longer bleed for people who wouldn't even bandage your wounds. Decide that you will not let small minds pull you into small fights. Your time is too valuable. Your future is too important. Your calling is too loud to be silenced by noise. So rise, Bawaji. Walk in that unbothered leadership. Speak when it's time, move with precision, lead with calm. And never forget, the moment you stop reacting is the moment you start leading. That's the switch. That's the difference. That's the truth.